All right, what is up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at a Rebecca list that won over in the West in OP-04, a Rebecca list that won. So, excuse me, I kind of want to dive straight into this. So real quick, you got to give credit where it's due. Thank you to eggmanevents.com for posting all this awesome information, on these on his site. And big shout out to Joseph Scalzero. Is probably how you say that. I'm not exactly sure. But this guy right here for winning the tournament as Rebecca. First time we've seen a Rebecca list win a regional tournament or larger over in the West, in the Western format. Excuse me. And this was 343 players. So very nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on it. That's a nice feature of, excuse me, of Eggman's website is you can just literally click on whatever deck won or whatever deck you're interested in trying out, and it just brings it up for you. It just brings you right over to another website that I use called onepiece-cardgame.dev, and it just brings up the entire deck list. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of Rebecca so this fits nicely on the screen. Let me also get rid of that top part. There we go. Okay, guys. So here it is. This is the list. And nothing really fancy. Guys, this is just pretty much a 4 of everything list for the most part. Well, not literally 4 of, but you get what I'm saying. Like just 4 Gats, 4 Leo, 4 Rebecca, 3 Idio, 4 Bartolomeo, 4 Tashigi. That's one of the few cards that's not in Dressrosa in this list. 4 Kairos, 4 Orlumbus, 4 Sabo, 4 Luffy, 3 Gum Gum King Kong Gun, and then 3 3000 Worlds. That's the other card that's not in the original list. 2 Truno Bastardos, and 3 Corda Coliseum. So literally only 7 cards not in the Dressrosa list. He's not running the 10-drop Kuzan. You just play the deck right, and apparently you do well, right? That's that's kind of how it goes, I guess. Now it's hard to say. I don't know. Let me see. Does it say? It doesn't really say who he played against. Excuse me. Like, I'm very curious. If you look at the top 16, or the top 12, I guess this is. Actually, we can look at top 16. Here we go. In the top 16, there were 3 Katakuris. And I always am interested to know if Rebecca went against any Katakuris and how it did. Because I know that Rebecca can beat Newgate, Zoro, and Trafalgar Law. But the Katakuris are usually, the menace that gets in the way of Rebecca deck winning over here in the West. So, but anyway, regardless, even if he didn't go against any Katakuris, still excellent job on winning and playing this deck properly and piloting it the right way. I'm not trying to discredit any information. I'm just trying to gather information. Or let me say that the right way. I'm not trying to discredit any player. I'm just trying to gather information. So, 12 2K counters here, 4 Bartolomeo, 4 Gats, 4 Tashigi. It's got 3 Idios. Just a nice little emergency blocker to drop down when you need it. Because for those who don't know, the way this deck runs is you just fill up the board. You counter out of every single thing that you possibly can, reasonably. Obviously, you don't want to dump your whole hand for no reason. But you want to keep countering as much as possible each turn. So that way it empties your hand out so you can keep using your leader's effect. You want Corda Coliseum down as soon as you can possibly get it down, again, in a reasonable manner. 4 Rebeccas to get you through cards. Your leader effect to get you through cards. 4 Sabos to get you through cards. Then you have Orlumbus, Leo, Kairos, and I think that's it. Yeah, those 3, Orlumbus, Leo, and Kairos are helping you mill cards as well. No Cavendish. That makes me sad because I have been kind of messing around with Cavendish in my own personal list, and I like the card. But one thing I've noticed, because we're going to look at some OP-04 lists from the East. Cavendish is, I guess he just doesn't quite make the cut. I don't know how else to say it. It's almost like, okay, what is Cavendish really good at? It's really good at taking out Law. Well, okay, the deck's already good at doing that, right? The deck was probably built by, designed by whoever makes the game. It was designed by them to be a counter to Law, right? So that it could fill out the board like Law does, but every time it fills out the board, it's removing characters, dropping blockers, and just getting extra value to battle the value that Law gets. And as a result of that, it's kind of just strong against red decks in general, not just Law. It could be Law, it could be a Zoro, it could be Newgate, you name it. But yeah, awesome looking list. It's very straightforward. I don't have a whole lot to talk about, to be completely honest with you. This list is as bare bones as it can get. It doesn't run any of the Kuzans. It doesn't run Cavendish. Nothing is really out of the ordinary here. It does only run 3 King Kong guns. I think some lists run up to 4. I've even seen a few lists that don't run any, randomly. Same thing with Quarter Coliseum. I've seen a list that runs, 4, and I've seen lists that don't run any. And I think 3 and 3 is absolutely the best case. Like how do you say that? I think going 3 King Kong guns and 3 Quarter Coliseums is like the perfect number of each. And I personally would go down a King Kong gun, but that's just me. I'm just giving my own personal opinion there. But obviously, this worked out just fine as is. So real quick, let's go ahead and just take a look at how the East looked. Let me just show you how I do this. If you go to OnePieceTopDecks.com, that's where I always go to get my deck lists. Deck lists. Can't even say that properly. And then, so when I'm under that, you go to Japan and Asia. Under that is English format, but we're going to go under Japan and Asia. And we're going to click on their OP-04 format. And then we're going to go deck profile and sort by, who are we looking for? Rebecca. We're not going to look at all these, obviously, but we are going to look at like the bigger ones that are 100-plus tournaments real quick. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to look at a 3-on-3 one. Actually, I guess I can, because, it probably won't be much different. In fact, it's not different at all. So it's the exact same list. It looks like every single card is the exact same in this list, but it's not running any Truno Bastardos. Instead, it's running 4 King Kong Gun and 4 Idio instead of the 2 Truno Bastardos. That is the only difference in the entire list. Very nice. So again, kind of seeing a common theme here. The ASU Championship, 141 people, first place. Let's take a look at this list. Instead of running Tashigi, they opted for Kaya, just a 2K counter. I think Tashigi probably is... actually, it's hard to say, because Kaya's on-play effect is very nice for filling up your trash can. Or your trash, whatever you want to call it, and like getting you through cards. And it only costs 1 as opposed to 3, like Tashigi costs. But other than that, we're looking at 4 3,000 worlds here. And yeah, this list is the exact same as the other one. Instead of running Tashigi, it's running Kaya. And instead of running 4 King Kong Gun, it's running 4 3,000 worlds. And it has the 4 Idios, and it doesn't run any of the Truno Bastardos. So, do y'all see what I was saying there? Instead of running the extra... it runs an extra Idio, and instead of running the extra King Kong gun, it just goes for 3,000 worlds instead. Okay, I think that made sense. Y'all help me out if not. I apologize if that came across clumsy. But yeah, just a very straightforward list. What else? We looked at this 894 one. Actually, this is a top 4 placement in an 894 player tournament. We will at least look at this list in the HE CS tournament here. This list again looks identical, and it looks like this is just the best list. It just turns out that every single time or any time a Rebecca list does really well, this is what you're looking at. It's identical to the last list we looked at. Did I click on the same one? I'm starting to wonder if I clicked on the same one. I clicked on the ASU Championship. Yeah. And then I clicked on the HE Top 4 Championship. Yeah, I think it's the same, guys. I think it's the exact same. Okay, so let's get down to... we got 3 more to look at, these big tournaments here. First place, 1,500 players. First place, this guy named Sadie. Let's see his list, or their list, rather. Running 1 barrier, 2 red rocks instead of the 3,000 worlds, and 4 Truno Bastardos. So there's at least a little bit of variation. But ultimately, the whole list is the exact same. Excuse me. This guy's running 4 of everything we've already looked at. And then he's only running 3 Sabos. That's very interesting, only running 3 Sabos. And instead of running the Truno Bastardo 3,000 Worlds combo, he's running the Red Rocks instead of 3,000 Worlds. 4 Quarter Coliseum, and no King Kong guns. I was going to say, wait a minute, how is he affording this? He has no King Kong guns, but 4 Quarter Coliseums. Very nice. Very interesting list. And that was the 1,500 player tournament. And now let's look at Fukuoka. I don't know how to say this. Sorry, guys. Butchered that, I'm sure. This list I remember being a little bit different. It runs no core to Coliseums, but it runs 4 Kuzans, 4 King Kong guns, 4 barriers, 4 Truno Bastardo. Just a very different list here, I will say. But I would like to know how much this barrier helped him out. There's really no telling. 4 Kaias instead of the TCGs. But still, I mean, yeah, this list is the most different we've seen. But it's still about like 90+% what we've already, pretty much the same. And then let's look at one more list. It was the second place of that tournament. This one, I remember this one vividly. I've done a video on pretty much all this before, guys, so I'm sorry if this sounds repetitive. This one I remember, and I did watch the finals of this tournament, and I honestly thought this list was better running and I think it ran Kuzan. Yeah, it did. It ran 4 Kuzan. It's got all the other stuff you normally would see. No King Kong gun, but it's running 2 of the 6 King pistol, 3 Trunos, 2 3000 Worlds, 4 Cordas. I just thought this list was so good when it first came out, guys. I think I bragged about it in like every other video back then. For those who've been watching the channel long enough, you already know. But I do think this list has potential to do something. But at the end of the day, it did get second place, and the one that got first just it runs a more basic list. And now what we're seeing over here, like, I mean, look at the biggest tournament we looked at. This was a 1,500 player tournament. We look at the list, and it is just straight up. I mean, this one did have the red rocks instead of 3000 Worlds. I guess that was a slight difference, and then running the single barrier. And it didn't run the King Kong gun, in all fairness. So this was another one that didn't run the King Kong gun. But it's like, ultimately the list just needs to be pretty basic. And it seems like there's either like one of 2 kind of players, or 3. There's 3 kinds of players. There's the players that don't care about the Quarter Coliseum. There's the players that don't care about the King Kong gun, and then there's the players who like want both. And I think that's kind of where it's settled over here in the East, or excuse me, over in the West. Where's the list we were just looking at? Because notice this deck just got both. This was the one that we were looking at that won recently. But yeah, that's about it, guys. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I'm just very happy that a Rebecca list did win something over here in the West. For those who are following the channel, I tried to make this deck work. But I'll tell you what, one thing I did not see was top 16 looks like this. I was not going against Laws. I was not going against Zoros or Newgates. It just was not happening. These matchups didn't exist for me. And Katakuri did. Like I said, I did struggle against Katakuris. And I did also struggle against blue decks. Kaido, literally Blurple Kaidos, blue Crocodiles, you name it. Any kind of blue or yellow is like all that I saw for the first 3 weeks of my area. But it is what it is. Very happy that Rebecca won. If I miss anything, y'all help me out in the comment section below. What do y'all think about Rebecca right now? And what do you think about Rebecca moving forward? I think over in the East currently, there has not been a single Rebecca list in OP-05. I think there might have been 1 or 2. Let me see something real quick. Deck profile, OP-04. No, not even 1 over in the East just yet. And it looks like most people who are playing blue-black are swapping over to Sakazuki. But in general, there just has not been any Rebecca just yet, unfortunately, over in the East. And there might not be. Who knows? Maybe the deck has been kind of, excuse me, kind of like retired, so to speak, because people would rather play Sakazuki for blue-black. Because, and y'all tell me what y'all think about that. Do y'all think Rebecca can make it over in OP-05 meta, or is it just it's not going to make it now? Like what do you think? What's your comment on that? And give us a little reason why, maybe, if you don't mind, if anyone's actually going to do that. Because my thoughts on it are this. I talked about in a previous video. Excuse me. I do think that Rebecca can do something right now, but at the same time, it's not going to be easy. Obviously, it's going to require some play testing. It's going to require some, maybe some adjustments to the deck. But I think that Rebecca did get some pretty decent stuff in OP-05, namely in the new Rebecca. It's a 4-cost blocker. In fact, I'll just bring that up while we're on this website, just to show y'all. It's getting this Rebecca, you know, the new blocker Rebecca that can fish out a 3/7 from your trash black character, and then plays out a 3-cost or less black character. So that way you can get back your Luffys. You know, you can get back your Luffys from the trash, your Sabos, your Borsalinos, whatever from the trash, and then play out a Kairos for free. And remember, you're establishing a blocker as well. So, not sure. Tell me what y'all's think. What y'all's thoughts are on that. I also think that Riku and Mancherry are going to be nice in Dressrosa going forward, and they got their final 2K counter that they really needed to continue in this path. In One-Legged Toy Soldier, it takes the place of Tashigi. Excuse me. So anyway, well, right, guys, that's about it. Tell me what y'all think about Rebecca in OP-04 or OP-05. You know, it's up to you. Tell me what you want to talk. You know, talk about what you want to talk about. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, peace.